These meetings seem to come round thick and fast, don't they? It seems like yesterday we were here. Can I just ask the officers actually that are here to just say who they are for those new members that have joined in the last few months, please?
Where would you like to start, Chair? Shall we
start from there? Yeah.
Morning, Chair. Morning, everybody. I'm Rob Lamb. I'm the Head of Strategy and Analysis for the Housing Property and Regen team tonight. My colleague Brenda Graham, who's working with us on the partner agreement with the housing associations that's on today's agenda.
Morning all, I'm Peter Beer. I am Head of Property and Strategic Assets, also at Combined Authority. And I also have an interest in Rob's paper later on the affordable housing pilot.
On Roger, so sorry, would you go?
You're going coming down, yeah?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, me. Sorry, Kieran Tunrain from West Midlands Development Capital.
Ed Bradburn from West Midlands Development Capital.
Nick Oakley, Head of Property Finance, West Midlands Development Capital. Want me to go?
That's Councillor Steve Clark from Dudley Council.
Roger Owen, WMCA Legal and Governance.
Wendy Slater, Governance Services.
Councillor Pete Hughes from Samuel, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, Ian Martin, I'm the Investment Director at the CA.
Carl Pearson, Head of Major Funding, reporting to the Finance Director at WMCA.
Councillor Jim O'Ball from Coventry City Council.
Councillor Mark Statham, representing Walsall Council.
Councillor Chris Burden, City Development at Wolverhampton Council.
And could I ask those that are joining us on the externally, please, on Teams?
Should I go? I'm Alison Guerra. I'm representing the accountable body for Walsall Council regarding the LPIF programme.
Thank you.
I'm happy to go next. I'm Jo Snell. I'm the Finance Business Partner for Housing.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Oliver Dyke from HPR, Senior Development Manager.
Is that all of you?
Yes, yeah.
Morning, everyone. Oliver Quitchin, graduate employee based in Housing, Property and Regeneration.
Welcome. I hope you learn a lot from this morning's meeting. Right, we'll go on to item 1, which is apologies for absence, Wendy.
Yes, we've received apologies for absence, Chair, from Councillor Slay and Sue Summers. Thank you.
And item 2, does anybody have any declarations of interest? No. In terms of item 3, I don't really have any chair's remarks. I think I'm getting used to the chair, so you're going to have to bear with me. And as things develop, I'm sure I will be talking in future meetings. But if we go out to the minutes as agenda item 4, is everybody happy with them as a true record?
Yes.
Yeah. There is just one item that I would like to take up. Accepting them as a true record. Item on 20 on page 3. At the top of the page, it talks about the Linda Horn reported that she and the Director of Commercial and Investment, Ian Martin, would look at addressing how the status of projects are communicated and speak to officers at Coventry and Solihull regarding their schemes, will report back on mitigation measures and an action plan. My feeling is that there should be some timescale attached to this, and I was wondering whether we could ask officers from Coventry and Solihull to actually do a written report back to the committee within 3 months, if possible, on the on where we are with the projects under there that might be in the red status. I think in particular instance of Solihull that there have been projects that have been long outstanding, and we haven't really had any real information in terms of updates, and I'd like to see that put right if possible.
Yeah,
Sorry, yeah.
can I just ask, because I was an apology at the last meeting, you mentioned Coventry, which particular projects are you referring to? And has this been communicated to officers? Because that's the first I've heard of it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can pick that up, Councillor. There's a couple of projects there listed on the dashboard as red. I've been speaking to Barry, who's been speaking to Colin Knight, their transport projects.
Which ones?
If you give me a second, I will do the dashboard. Find the right page. There are reasons for them being outstanding. And I think it's waiting for information from external third parties. What I've asked for. Oh, thank you, Carl. Yeah, so it's the A46 Stoneleigh Junction, A46 Link Road Phase 1. There's A46 Link Road Phase 2 and Phase 3, and then Coventry South Interchange. They're all, the first three certainly are linked to external reasons, so funding, timing, etc. Because the other parties other than just the investment programme funding.
And technically they're not in Coventry either.
Okay, yeah, but Coventry City Council is sponsor for them, so they submitted the business case. So what I've asked them to do, what I've asked the officers to do, is just provide an update that says these projects are delayed because they need a formal extension of time. Can we have one, please? And then that keeps us within the various authorities of the board in terms of what was approved as the timescale for delivery. I've got no reason to believe that there's anything undue, but then it's a product. You know, the board has a monitoring role, so it's just formality to do that.
Can I just say, Jim, obviously picking this up for the first time, but having said that, I'm aware that some of these red projects have been that way for quite a long time, and it's all about basically getting under the skin of where we are. I don't think there's any particular problem with the Coventry projects, but for instance, in terms of information from Solihull, that's been fairly basic, and I think we need to get under the skin of what's happening with those. So it's not particularly the Coventry projects that we're rounding in on.
Just specifically the link road. I'm aware that the business case from the Department for Transport changed, and it doesn't make a solid business case. I thought that had been widely understood and reported, because that's in relation to the HS2, and it's caught up in all of that. I'll raise this with officers because I'll happily do that. Have you formally written to them?
Yes, I have.
Okay, that's good. Fine.
So we're happy that that's the way forward. So we're saying 3 months, which I think is fairly reasonable. We'll get on to agenda item 5, which is the investment programme updates. Ian, please.
It's the problem of not printing things off, isn't it? Right, okay. So working off laptops to switch documents. Okay, so investment programme update dashboard. So funding commitment as at the end of July is unchanged, 848.4 million versus the 871 that's approved by the CA board, and as usual, the remainder is earmarked contributions as approved by the WNCA board. What's incurred in the drawings at the end of July, we're up 36.6 million, so that's substantial. So we now stand at 647.3 million drawn. Since the last board meeting, the WMCA officers have used their delegated powers to approve 3 business cases and change requests. These are rail package 2 that was heard at WMCA board, part of the capital pressures paper, with the detail for this to be delegated to exec directors, and they've exercised that power to formally apply for the funds. There is no change in the amount of funds from the investment programme, and the impact has been purely on the CRUS funds, the City Region Sustainable Transport Settlement Funds. Same goes for Wolverhampton Interchange Project, where again officers have used their delegated powers as given to them by WMCA board following the capital pressures paper, and indeed Wednesbury to Briley Hill extension phase 1 is the metro scheme. The interim gateway review is mentioned in the paper. That's been requested by MHCLG. We have produced those 5-year, 10-year, 15-year intervals. MHCLG have paused work on that. We're working with MHCLG to really understand what it is they want from the gateway review. They haven't quite communicated it, so we are undertaking work anyway. So we're conscious that we want to complete that in November 25, the report March 26. That and the CA officers has been collaborating to complete a local evaluation framework. I can move on to the dashboard when you're ready, Chair.
Yes, we'll move on to the investment fund dashboard.
So on the investment programme, there's 84 projects recorded as having approved funding, including various sub-projects. We have now 30 of those projects that have reached completion of the stage funded by the investment programme, and evaluation of those projects commenced. Dashboard records the funding allocated, and that's which being used, as well as the approved date for project completion, with anticipated date now provided by the sponsor. We've got a red status, and out of the 54 live projects, the 22 projects that are red status, those are the ones that we mentioned previously that we're working towards reaching change requests for, to understand better where we are with the project, see if those can be approved to extend dates. So we have 14 projects under the KC infrastructure programme for the whole. Those have submitted as change requests, but we've gone back with a few queries to better understand those projects. They're the ones you've mentioned, Chair. There's currently 5 listed there for Coventry. We've spoken to, as I mentioned, Councillor Boyle, Section 151 officer, requested the update and the submitted extension on each of those. There's also 3 TFWM projects forecast to exceed their authorised completion dates. We're requesting from the Executive Director that they deal with a change request. One of the projects has now submitted a change request that has been removed, hence we're at 3 rather than 4 last time. That was package 2 rail stations. If there's any questions, that's...
All right, are there any questions from the board members? No? All happy with that then? Thank you. I'll go over to agenda item 6, which is the commercial investment fund dashboard. Nick Oakley. I think you might as well wrap in agenda item 7 and 8.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So items 6, 7 and 8 are the public information dashboards for the loan and grant funds managed by West Midlands Development Capital. I will provide a full update as is usual in the private session, unless there are any questions in the public session.
Any questions for board members in the public session? On that, in that case, we'll now go into private session, and I'll read out the statement in relation to that. In accordance with section 100A of the Local Government Act 1972, the public and press be excluded from the meeting for the following items of business, as they're likely to involve the disclosure of exempt information as specified in the paragraphs of the Act.